Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be building the drop to our no copyright sounds layout. You saw it in the title, you see a screenshot in the thumbnail. I'm not going to talk anymore. Let's get over to the making thingy. So let's get on to doing the level. So we're going into the level right now. And if you recall, last time we ended off right before the drop, which is a 4x speed spider part. And I really want to focus on music sync for this part because I didn't want it to be too hard. But if I wanted to make something tight, at least I can make it sync to the music so it's easier to at least get a grasp on the gameplay. So I put some orbs in because I didn't really know where to start. And it's really the easiest way to start a part. Especially for the spider, like ball, or really any game mode that's not the great... Like the cube, not really. The spider, ball, and robot, pretty easy to just start it off with an orb. So now I'm just adding some gameplay. Adding a pad. And then a spider orb, so that you can just go right back up. I'm going to add another platform right there that you can land on, so you're not landing on the ceiling there. Because this part of the level is zoomed out, I can't just use the regular border lines on the portal. Or, I mean, it'll just lie to you. It doesn't actually help. So there's no point in putting them on. It's really just false borders. So I didn't want to worry about where and why it would go some other place. So I set up this little part that I deleted because I just didn't like the way it was. And I had a little bit of another idea for just the part that was part of. That was a mouthful. So I'm going to put some blocks down, obviously. I mean, it's not a level without gameplay. Or it would be an empty reason tab level if it didn't have gameplay, because that's kind of the whole reasoning. I did one of those, like, funnel spider parts. I don't know how to explain them, but they, like, go closer to the middle the more you go. Then realized that I just messed up a few places and drawing out the gameplay. Then realized that we're at 4x speed. That won't work. That won't work with the music. Again, I could probably spam that fast, but I wanted this to be a good level, not spam challenge 300 by, I don't know, recent tab guy 400. So I'm just getting this going here. I'm playtesting to make sure everything syncs with the music, because it's very nice for something to, sync with the music. Wow, I am the greatest at sentences. Accidentally copy and pasted an extra block there, oh my. So I wanted to add a spike there so I didn't have to funnel in more. Well, I'm kind of funneling in with the spike, but I wanted to not be too enclosed because I didn't really want this part to be very closed in. I wanted this part to be a more open part, but still have very structured structures, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but that's what I went with. So just blocking off secret ways because I'm really good at that. I do that a lot more in the polishing part, so I don't want there to be any secret ways. And so you can actually play the level. I mean, if you find a secret way, you find a secret way. But whatever. You're there to play the level, not to beat the level. I mean, it's not a... There's no stars on the line. This is a layout. You're not going to actually get anything. So at that point, just have fun, right? And don't be one of those people to play levels like stars or like the level is in the way of you getting the stars. It's really not the mindset. It's a game. It's not a competition. I mean, in the higher levels, it is more of a competition, but it's still a game. I'm putting down a blue orb, and I put a structure right there. That structure I did do a little bit of interesting stuff with in the polishing part, and the more decorating, quote-unquote. Realizing this blue orb is not even near where it should be. So fixing that up. You're going to see today that I playtested a lot of this just because it really synced very well. And you'll see that in the showcase. So if you're wondering what these little orange dots in the line is, you can go into the editor and hit show clicks, and it will show the clicks. That's where you clicked is the orange. So it helps me figure out at what point the music goes, because I'm just clicking to the music at that point. The spider is one of my favorite game modes for building because it's just so easy to, especially do music sync with. It's just so, like, there's no finicky stuff. It's not like the ship where you have, like, a hold end release you have to deal with. And it's not like the ball where there's, like, a little bit of a wait before you can hit the bottom. You just teleport. So it's like, you can click as many times as you want. That's also why I think the spider is the best for spam sessions. Or sections, rather. I decided to put this orb in this block. And then move this little cube portal up so that I can reach it with the orb. Play testing to make sure that is very good. And it is very good, yet it's a little too close for comfort, so just moved it down a block and that easily fixed the issue. So if you saw, I did put a cube portal down. So that is going to be the next part of this. So there's a little bit of a slower part of the song over here. You can't hear it because I mute this part. Because when I do the time lapses, the song sounds really weird and kind of hurts your ears. So it's easier if I just mute the whole thing. But in the showcase, it will not be muted. So you'll know what I'm talking about in, like, however long the video is. So now I'm playtesting, because I'm loving the level so far. The layout's doing really good, and I will be doing more parts of this. Probably not next week, because I just did one last week. But... no, it's fun. They're fun to make, and I hope it's fun to watch. I'm not 100% sure, because I'm the one making it, and I watch it at the end, but it's your own video, so you can't really judge how good it is. Not easy to do that. I don't know what other people like, so kind of gotta just hope for it. I put some teleport orbs down. I typically don't use them, but I've been on a roll with them lately in just levels that I've made off camera. I've been making a lot of levels off camera, actually. I do that. If you look at the level count I have, it's a little rough. So, playtesting and finding secret ways and then deciding not to patch them because I know I'm going to do that in the polishing part. Then realizing that teleport orbs with force are really awkward, and I'm going to spend about maybe 30 seconds here with finicky teleport orb stuff. I put another start position down. And and then I did nothing with it. I don't know what happened. That was weird. I I don't have an explanation for you. What I do know is that I put an accidental spark position there, and now it will be gone. Now the force is being finicky again, and then it's still being finicky, so I decided to turn around, and it was still being annoying, so then I had to readjust the force to be negative again. Rob Top, please fix that. But it ended up working. Now, unfortunately, something that I didn't fix, but I knew and I kept in my mind while recording this, is that you have to time them a little bit, just to it's very varied when you hit it. So if you didn't see, I put ignore X on it, which pretty much just means that it won't teleport you forwards or backwards. You're probably like, well, they're on top of each other, so why does that matter? And it will always teleport you to the middle of the orb you're teleporting to, like the center. But if you have ignore X on, it will teleport exactly where you were on the x-axis. So if you're at 33% and the orb is at 34%, you're only going to be teleported to the same height as you were. You're going to be at 33%. And that's same for little distances, because it just slightly affects music sync. I put 3 blue orbs, and then I decided to put some blocks here that you have to hold into. I'm not going to do any micro clicks, that's a little bit evil, but I will do some of these little hold gimmicks. I decided to put a black orb here, so you can shoot you down into these blocks that I am putting down, and you also hold it at that one so that you can avoid that spike. So now I'm just adding another platform, and I decided I want to do a dash orb. Now, as you see in the showcase, the song is not very dash orby. There's one point in the pre-drop that it just kind of worked, but the drop of the song, not 100% suitable for dash orbs. But I decided to use one anyways, and it honestly turned out better than you would have thought, so that is okay. I decided that I was just going to do some weird structuring off the bat, and don't worry, that structuring just stayed, because I was like, that's interesting, it's elegant or something. So that dash orb structuring, you will never see that change. Though some structuring around these yellow orbs were a little bit different, and I do want to talk about it later, not to the structure. Whoa. I decided to put a black orb here. It was a little bit inconsistent, but I ended up adjusting it a little bit. It ended up being a little bit more consistent later. So, me moving this dash orb down, the black orb down, didn't really work. It just didn't. For whatever reason, it worked in the time being, but as soon as I started polishing, it just didn't work anymore. So, sure. We're close to that 2x speed portal, which I am not 100% sure what game mode I'm going to do yet. I guess you'll just see. I put an angled dash orb here. I ended up changing it for a pink orb, so it can put you back up. And then later, when I'm doing the polishing, you're going to see that I didn't like that pink orb. That pink dash orb just didn't flow with the level, and I just changed it. I swapped it out for some other things. But while I'm still going through this whole pink orb thing, I'm just structuring based on its path. So, sure. I am now rearranging the structures for this pink dash orb that I was apparently just so focused on keeping. I don't know why I was so focused on keeping this orb, but whatever. So realize that I want this to be normal gravity for this part. I didn't want to start upside down. I didn't want to do any shenanigans. I really took a hard think about it, then realized I'm going to do a robot part. I really wanted to do a ball part, but I did that in the pre-drop, and honestly, I don't want to just keep repeating game modes, except for the cube, because the cube's just like that core Geometry Dash game mode, and it's also fun to make gameplay in, but I do think I want to vary it up a little bit, and I didn't want to do the wave, because same idea, I just didn't want to do it again. And I just cannot make ship gameplay, swingcopter gameplay, or UFO gameplay for the life of me, so decided to not use any of those either, so robot just seemed like the absolute best point and part. So moving these portals down, and playtesting the whole part, because I, of course, did not re-enable my start position yet. I don't know 100% why, but whatever. Realizing that pink dash orb was a little inconsistent. Wow, maybe you should remove it. No? Okay, then just add more blocks to make it easier. So, I don't... It's time for polishing! So I'm going in and polishing the whole level, or the whole part. Not the whole level. I already polished part of the level. I don't want to do the whole level. Now, if you're wondering, you didn't even build that robot part yet. What are you doing polishing the level? Well, I decided I'm just going to polish it first and deal with it later, and you will see that. Me dealing with it later. Don't worry, it will be in this video. If you're wondering what game mode will be at that 4x speed portal later, I don't know yet myself. So, we will find that out in the next layout episode, which will probably come out in about 2 to 3 weeks. Not sure when, but possibly soon. I decided to put a little happy face, and then did that, and it looks like he's sleeping, and he's like kind of cute. I don't know why. It's weird. It's gotta be the slabs. I decided to do a little bit more structuring, and I didn't want this to just be an empty part between these parts with structures, because there's these orb parts. So now I'm putting this little slope structure here. Looking back, and I did think about this before too, it kind of looks like a little shark eating the yellow or the red orb. Wow, colors. Give me a color wheel, please. Oh my. I was actually watching a video today about the color wheel and like the weirdness of it, how it doesn't work. The only reason we're taught in like elementary school that red, yellow, and blue are the primary colors, that is because no one knows what magenta and cyan are. Anyways, I did this little structure that's like in the structure, if that makes sense. So instead of going through the structures, you go in the structure. I think that's cool. I just put a bunch of different little structures using the 1.0 blocks. And I do think next time I'm going to add some color changes to the background, because I did want this to be layout, but I think I want to just have a little bit more pizzazz to it. But you'll see that next time. I might not do that. I might forget. Who knows? It's very possible that I forget. And if I forget, then leave comments. That would be fun. I don't know. So, I put another one of those little spiky pillars, and I think the little spiky pillars are just so cool. I don't know, they give a whole new element to it. And it is the level. I didn't know if you got that part. Anyways. I did this little spike structure thing. I don't know why, I'm going to be honest. I thought it looked cool. And they never touched it since. adjusting this pink orb because I'm really hanging on to dear life to that pink orb. As you will see, it will not be hung on for that long. I was playtesting a little bit. Then I added a little slope-ish structure. It's not slope, it's blocky, but it has spikes like a slope, so I'm going to call it a slopey structure. You can't stop me. Well, the part's over anyways, so there's no reason to stop me. I put this other little slopey structure, which is made out of actual slopes. Filled that in, and put some spikes down there with some blocks. And then copy and paste the structure like good old-fashioned me. I decided to completely steal a structure from earlier in the level that we built in last episode. And made a little structure here, put some spikes on it. I wanted to be a little more interesting in the structuring, because I realized I've just been doing some boxes. Unfortunately, the structuring this part isn't as fun, which I kind of wish I did a little more because this is a drop. But there is a pretty fast part coming up next week, so... Not next week, next part. I don't know if it's going to be next week. We're not sure yet. I wanted to stop and talk about this little layered thing going on. I thought it was cool. It reminded me of, like, those pyramid hierarchies you were taught to in, like, social studies class as a child, or history. Maybe during, like, the medieval ages. I don't know, I think they're kind of cool. Not the hierarchy, but the structure. Never mind. Obviously just copy and pasted those around, because what else am I going to do? And, you know, it also kind of reminds me of a beehive, now looking back at it. I don't know why. There's no hexagons going on. It just gives me beehive vibes. I decided to, like, do something weird with the structuring there. Just put some basic 1.0, like, fill-ins there. And kept it, because why not? I made this other structure that intrudes into the gameplay, because I decided that would be an awesome idea. Filled around putting a black orb, then did not do that. So, now we're going to move on to the robot part that I was talking about. Yay, me not procrastinating! This is big news. This is big stuff for us. Big step. We have baby steps, okay? And that's just fine. So, soon you're going to see me just fill in this structure so I can polish it before even adding the gameplay. Very smart of me. So here it is. Yay, me finally polishing things. That's fun. So I decided I'm going to play with music and really sync to it by adding random structures around and seeing if I want to keep them. And look at that, I did want to keep them. I put these little things down, these little edge pieces. I put that little filler block in, and then put some spikes to actually add some hazards. I had no idea if that part would have worked. It did work, but I had to nerf it a little bit, as I'm doing right now. Putting that block in, putting these blocks in. These are ground spikes. And that one up there just to put up there, I guess. Little sneak peek. Oh, no. No, we can't sneak peek the showcase here. Come on. Ruining the showcase. Doesn't matter. The music really makes the showcase, and there's no music. Just my voice. So, I mean, that's not a terrible thing. I don't think. Oh, no. So, now I'm replacing the spike, and now we're on to the showcase. you guys so much for watching. You guys are amazing, as always. So stay tuned for next week or whenever I do the next part of this, and we're going to continue the drop and hopefully do some more unique structuring. Okay, bye.